We have been told for 40 years that Gregorian chant has pride of place in the Roman Rite. And I've often wondered what on earth pride of place means. It could just mean the kind of place that you give an old uncle at the table and you don't let him say anything. It has pride of place on the shelf somehow or the other. But you go back to the Latin text of Sacrosanctum Concilium and it says, Principum locum. It has first place. Gregorian chant is the principal music of the Roman Rite.
We did them at a workshop a couple of weeks ago, and you know, the eyes, after you finish, I had a group of about 40, 45 people, something like that, after we finished singing the first time through, and the eyes were just like big, like, what did we just do? That was amazing. And I said, what do you think about that? And a lady in the back said, it sounds like prayer. And everybody said, yeah, that's it. It was like prayer.
I think a lot of music directors are not prepared to do to put together the kind of music that the church is asking. They may not have the music background, and even if they do have the music background, they don't necessarily have the support of the pastor or the music committee or liturgy committee at the parish. I think the biggest challenge is that everybody needs to be on the same page and be familiar with the church documents.
Sanctus.
Buchholz from the Netherlands. To see the insight that he brings is really amazing. It's really awe-inspiring, and it's not because he sounds authoritative, but he has such a wonder. He has such a sense of wonder about him that allows him to make links between the music that he teaches and this is not an understatement, really the rest of creation.
He has a real gift for illustrating with analogies or visualizations how things should be interpreted. He told us in Auburn that the little melisma in the Ambrosian Gloria should be like, said, imagine you have a bird in your hands and you release it into the air. Well, that was very captivating, and it really illustrated perfectly how that passage should be sung.
A little more espressivo on Gloria, Gloria. Not by stressing, but by taking your time for gl.
He has a particular ability to create a vision for a singer, whether it be sacred polyphony or chant, that allows them to experience the music in their body and then in its proclamation, that I haven't experienced with any other director. And being a singer for so many years, I've sung under a lot of conductors, and the grace of God is on that man, and he has done such amazing work with us.
He has a wonderful smile. He is very patient, very gentle, and he explains things so well.
I really feel that you feel the pulse, but not every pulse needs full sound. Sometimes it's between. Ta-di, ta-di. Pulse is not an accent. Pulse is that's the pulse. You shouldn't hear it. Just imagine that you would hear all our hearts beating. What a terrible noise that would be. And that's the problem with a lot of pop music. You hear the beating through everything. And the miracle of Renaissance music is the pulse is very strong, but you don't hear it. It's there.
In an average parish, you can't just plop a solemn high mass down onto a congregation. They will be running for the doors if they don't understand what it's about. You see, that's been one of our weaknesses, that we haven't really persuaded the people about what this was for. Why Catholics can't sing should have had a title, Why Catholics Won't Sing. And the answer is because they don't see why the heck they should.
What the church asks of us and what we attempt to do in our parishes is not going to be understood or appreciated by everyone. In fact, as far as immediate gratification is concerned, we follow someone who died on a cross. And so it's simply not going to be about our successes on this day or the next day or the next week. It is about being faithful.
I think we have to be very charitable and kind, because it's very easy to get caught into these people don't understand what the church wants, and it makes us upset. And so, it's really up to us. We have to convert hearts and minds. We're not going to change things until we can do that. And we can't do that by being angry, by being irritable with people, by being impatient. We have to tell them it's not their fault, that they don't understand. The church really does speak about sacred music. Music directors don't know that. 95% of the music directors in the United States probably don't know what propers are. And it's not their fault. No one has ever taught them. So we have to teach, and we have to be Christian about it.
The notion of gradualism, then, is that you take an existing parish mass and you gradually improve it. This is actually taking place in many churches over the country now. I'm amazed to see just how many places people say, oh yes, we started to sing the Gregorian Sanctus or Agnus Dei.
He was just saying, look, Rome wasn't built in a day. I inherited a parish that didn't have much training. And so this year we worked on this aspect of the Mass.
Right.
We started incorporating these changes, which involves training people, training the whole
right.
congregation, the whole parish. And then the next year we worked on this. And he was describing it kind of 4 years in. I think he'd been working on it for 4 years or so. And he was kind of describing his 10-year plan. And there was the sense of, he said, look, you despair if you said it's hopeless, I can't do anything. So you just see what you can do when you start and incrementally.
Right. And maybe you're a singer and you go to the colloquium and
sure.
saying you're investing, your time as a singer. Maybe you're a music director.
Sure.
And you want to learn more about chant. You want to learn how to conduct something you haven't been able to conduct in the past. You want to learn about how to make the small choir you have a better tone, a better sound. So we have different sessions that address all of those needs,
yep.
all toward the same goal.
Many people who come here can't imagine that in their entire life they would be the director of a schola. Next week, they will go home and they'll be doing this and directing.
That's right. It's absolutely true.
Yeah.
We have courses in conducting chant,
yeah.
in singing chant, in learning chant, in teaching chant.
Right.
And then we have the experience of singing the chant at Mass. This is what the colloquium is all about.
This experience has shown me a window to heaven through sacred worship, sacred music, sacred liturgy that everyone needs to see, everyone needs to experience it.
There's a view out there that Catholic parishes are not going to pay their musicians. They're glad to have anybody show up and sing something that sounds vaguely like the Gloria or the Sanctus or Holy, Holy, Holy. Musicians are busy people. They just want to show up to Mass and sing. Why should they undertake this task? Why should a person go to the trouble?
Because divine worship is the highest activity a human being can encounter, can undertake, and it should be done with the greatest degree of excellence.
At the end of the colloquium, everyone is always surprised that he or she has accomplished that. How could I have done that? How did it happen that we had a Missa Quartitoni by Victoria? I never thought I would be able to sing a Mass like that. I've never sung a Mass like that before. How is it possible?
It was during the communion that I actually started, it was almost to the verge of tears. Not so much because of the music, because I felt inadequate. I felt all this weight on me. Lord, I can't do this. This is too much. And then I heard this voice say, remember the story of Moses in the burning bush. Moses was the same way. Lord, I can't lead your people out of Egypt. I can't speak. I can't do this. And God said, I will be with you. And it's something that's always stuck with me, just remembering that in all of this, God's going to be with us. It's a slow, painful process, and in all that, He knows what we're doing, and I think He appreciates our efforts.
I was trying to explain how wonderful it was, and I was explaining to someone who thought it was kind of a bureaucratic conference, like people were talking about policy or music policy. I said, no, it's people who love music. There are all these singers, and they said, oh, they're excited about it? I said, oh, yeah. And I was trying to explain. I said, look, it's like Catholic Woodstock for Gregorian chant people. And he goes, really? I said, oh, yeah. I said, these hundreds of people who are just on fire for this stuff. They're singing, they're talking about it in the lunchroom. They're just, I said, it's like Woodstock for Gregorian chant.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. Yeah.
And but it's a genuine labor of love.
Right. It's always a positive agenda. Yeah. Always looking forward.
Always.
And being hopeful.
That's the key. And our organ is
that's our cue right there.